thank you everyone for joining us. Today we have Mr. Jimmy from Lebanon, who is joining us all the way from Lebanon. And I want to say thank you to him because with the whole war around him, he's still able to make this time to actually join us and also share some insightful section with us today. Thank you, Mr. Jimmy. You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Mr. Yemo. Thank you so much. So, as you said, my name is Jimmy, and I'm going to present a presentation on how to enhance your likability and interpersonal skills as a leader. Okay, so we're going to begin directly, not going to waste anyone's time. So, you want to be a leader, right? In my opinion, a great leader has 4 qualities. The first one is a great leader knows how to interact with people. The second one is a leader is liked and respected by others. Look at all the leaders around the world. They're all liked and respected. So this is a very top quality for a leader. The third one is they can make other people align with their perspectives. So they can make others align with them. And the fourth one is they can induce change in others in a good way, of course. So these are the 4 top qualities of a leader, in my opinion, when interacting with people. So what you'll get today is exactly that. You're going to get strategies for effectively interacting with others. You're going to get insights on how to build a favorable impression to make people like you. You're going to learn how to influence others to align with your perspectives. And finally, I'll give you some strategies to inspire change in others. And this is how you can become an effective leader when interacting with others. We'll begin directly. Strategies for effectively interacting with others. The first one, always replace criticism with constructive communication. Do not criticize and tell them you're wrong. Instead, you should focus on constructive feedback and solutions. I'll give you an example. Imagine you're a team leader and one of the team members in your team misses a project deadline. So what do? Instead of criticizing them and telling them, oh, you missed the project deadline, get out. No, you should approach the situation with constructive communication. So you say something like, I've noticed we've had some issues with meeting the project deadlines. So let's identify the problem together and figure out a solution. See how constructive this is. So constructive, positive environments are much better than just saying you're wrong, and criticizing them, complaining about them, and just doing that. So this is the first tip that I have for you. A pro tip for this is to never put the blame on the others. So they are just what we would be under their similar circumstances. So just approach that with that in mind. The second tip I have for you is to express genuine gratitude. So always emphasize the significance of genuinely expressing your gratitude towards the others. Make the person feel valued and recognized. I'll give you an example. My friend, her name is Sarah. She was with me in university, and she graduated with a master's degree in computer engineering. And now she's a software engineer in Google, actually, in Poland. It's a true story, by the way. So they had a very critical project, and she was in the team, and she performed very well. The project was a success because of Sarah. So the team leader at the time was a person named Mark. And the team leader noticed that her astounding contribution to the project eventually made it succeed. So what did Mark do? He organized a surprise office party to appreciate Sarah. And imagine what that's made as an effect. It left a lasting impression on Sarah and the team. It made her feel genuinely valued. So imagine how good she must have felt. And not only her, but the team as well. So imagine how the team would feel if someone were to do this. So she took on many other projects, but also the team members felt confident and felt like they wanted to push for more because Mark expressed gratitude towards Sarah. So he knew how to appreciate her. Mark is a good leader, you see. So my pro tip here would be always appreciate the other person's good points and say it to them directly. Go and tell them, you did a good job. This is a very good quality to have as a leader. The third interactive strategy is to identify and align with other people's needs. So always put yourself in the other's shoes, basically, Acknowledge their interests and what drives them so you can build a positive relationship with them. So always align with their needs, not yours. So I'll give you an example. Let's imagine you're the owner of a health and fitness company and you sell products in that space. So health and fitness. And you get approached by a customer, let's call her Mary, and she wants to improve her health. Okay? So she's motivated to do so because she wants to have quality time with her children. So what do? You align with her wants and her needs of becoming healthier. You tell her, oh, so you want to become healthier? Well, I'll show you how our products are connected to your needs, you see. And then she will be more likely to buy from you. So you're a good leader, you see. So the pro tip here is to always put yourself in other people's shoes. Always. And here we finish the strategies for effectively interacting with others. Now, let's look at the interesting one, how to build a favorable impression. So how do you make people like you? First one, and very important one, remember the other person's name. Always. It's a very weird thing. We humans are connected to our names emotionally. So always remember everyone's names. It will make them feel recognized and valued. Imagine, as an example, that you meet someone for the first time. Okay, so they're strangers and you meet them and you have a quick conversation, you exchange names, and then after a month, you see them and then they greet you with your name. Imagine how powerful that is. Like they remembered your name. You would be like, whoa, they remembered my name. Wow, that's cool, right? So it's a very important and powerful tactic to use to remember other people's names. Instead of just being like, hi, I forgot your name. What was your name? Okay, that's normal. But if you want to be a leader, you need to remember their names. This is a very, very important one. It hits different when you call them by their name. So the pro tip here is to always try to make an effort to remember the other person's name. And the way to do it is to repeat it over and over in your head. And it might seem a bit crazy, but it's effective. So after you finish your conversation with them, go back home and be like, what was his name? What was his name? Or what was her name? What was her name? Remember that name, because the next time you see that person and you greet them with their name, it would be very, very different. It would hit different. It's very, very powerful. Next, always smile and be positive when talking to others. Don't have that bland face. So be positive and smile. Show those white teeth. Okay, a sincere smile creates a very strong first impression, and it also fosters a very warm and approachable feel to your personality. It's very essential if you want people to like you as a leader. So take an example, a quick one. Imagine you had a job interview with someone called Jacob. Okay, so you go to the job interview in hopes of landing a job. And Jacob greets you with a very positive tone and a smile. Immediately, you would feel at ease. You would feel like, oh, okay, he's smiling, he's positive, he's happy. It communicates interest and it creates a very comfortable atmosphere. So you feel at ease, you feel confident because Jacob is likable. And then his positive impression boosts your confidence and the perception of the company. He won you over with just his smile. So the pro tip here is to always stay positive, always smile. People love positivity. The third and final strategy for likability is to listen to what others have to say with interest. This is an emphasis here, with interest. Don't just listen blindly. No, you have to listen with interest and intent. So be genuine when showing interest in others. Actively listen to their experiences so you can build your likability with them and create a meaningful connection. Use sentences like, tell me about your career journey, or what projects have you been working on recently, or tell me about your kids, or so on and so on. You get the idea. So always express interest in them and listen to what they have to say, because people love to talk about themselves and their interests. If you're a good leader, you know how to maneuver around that. You know how to capitalize on that. Okay? So actively listen always. Maintain your eye contact, nod, offer verbal cues like, I see, or that's fascinating. Your body language should convey interest. This is the whole purpose here. So please tell me more, for example. It's like, oh, he's interested in me, so I'm going to keep talking. And then they just like you. This is how it is. So the pro tip here is to do 20% talking and 80% listening. This is how you get people to like you as a leader. And here we finish how to build a favorable impression. Next, we're going to go into how to influence others to align with your perspectives. First one, do not argue with others. I'm going to repeat it. Never argue with others. Argument never reaches a conclusion. Avoid it by all means. This is how you can create a more receptive and positive environment, by avoiding argument. Okay? You need to cooperate with the other person, not argue. You cannot just go and say, you're wrong, right in their face. This will not lead you anywhere, the both of you. So instead of saying you're wrong, what you should do is respect their opinion and value their input. Then discuss your openness to different ideas. It's okay for two people to have different ideas, but that does not mean you have to argue with them on it. Be constructive about it. Cooperate with them. And this approach creates a very positive atmosphere. It makes the other person more open to the other ideas instead of just blocking it out. Like, oh, he's saying I'm wrong. My ego is hit, right? I'm not wrong. That's how we all think. So to be an effective leader, do not argue with them. Instead, create a very cooperative environment to influence them to put some input in the situation and to reciprocate. So this is how you can reach a win-win situation. Both of you are taken into consideration instead of none of you. So avoid argument. This is the pro tip here. Completely avoid them. Next, let the other person feel as if the idea was theirs. So you need to let them feel like they came up with the idea. This is very powerful, by the way. Not very easy to do, but if you can do it, it's very powerful. So you have to let the other person feel like the idea was theirs, because it would encourage them to cooperate with you. And all you want is cooperation here as a leader, right? You want other people to listen to what you have to say. So you have to do this. Let's say you're planning a group outing with your friends. This is a very simple case. We all have friends. We all go out with friends. If you're planning to go out with them, for example, instead of you deciding on the activity yourself and being like, okay, we're going to go there and I don't care about anyone else. No, you ask them for suggestions. You let them choose. They come up with an idea and you tell them, oh, that's a great idea, right? And then you go with it and they feel important. They feel like, oh, he said it's a great idea. How cool. So they feel like they came up with the idea and it creates a cooperative environment. It makes the outing happen. So the pro tip here is to ask open-ended questions. If you answer an open-ended question, it could have an infinite amount of answers. So just throw an open-ended question at them, let them answer, and then be like, oh, that's a great idea. They'll feel like the idea is theirs and you won them over. There we go. The third and final strategy here is to always admit to your mistakes. I mean, come on, we're all human and we all do mistakes. We all make mistakes. And when you make mistakes, never hide them under the carpet, so to say. Always admit to them. If you make a mistake, go up to the people in your team and tell them, I made a mistake. Because this will build trust like nothing else. It will build credibility with others. They'll be like, wow, he admit to his mistakes. I can trust him. He's not lying. So take an example if you're a manager in a company. So you're leading a team in a company. And you've made a decision that you later realize was not the best choice for the team. So you made a mistake. Instead of justifying it and throwing it under the carpet, go to them and say, I made a mistake with our project and I take full responsibility. So this acknowledgement of the mistake will show that you trust your team and that means they can trust you. So you're a very effective leader in this case. They will appreciate your honesty. They're more likely to respect your leadership because you took responsibility for your own actions and your own failures. The pro tip here is to always admit your mistakes sincerely. Mean it. If you make a mistake, say it. Don't be afraid. It's actually counterintuitive. You make a mistake and you say you made a mistake, it builds positive trust. Here we finish with how to influence others to align with your own perspectives. Finally, I'm going to give you some strategies to inspire change in others. So how do you inspire change in others? The first one is to ask them questions instead of giving them orders. So leaders who ask questions empower their team. They encourage communication. And this results in a very positive environment where ideas are generated. But if you give orders, then that won't happen. So you should ask questions because you seek input and collaboration instead of direct orders, where it's more authoritative and directive. It will leave less room for people to give you their input, and it would be less of a net negative for the team. So always ask questions. Take this, for example. A manager might ask their team, what strategies do you think we should implement to improve the project's efficiency? This is a very open-ended question. It ties into what I just talked about before. And it's a very good direct leadership style. Instead of being very direct and order giving, and you just give them orders like, I need you to follow this plan, or I need you to do this, the team members won't be very happy doing so, probably. Instead of letting them give their own input and offering a constructive and communicative environment. It's very important to ask questions instead of giving orders. Second, always address mistakes indirectly. So if someone made a mistake in your team, do not go and tell them you made a mistake. Instead, do it indirectly. Discuss the errors or the problems in a gentle and considerate manner. Keep their ego in mind. We don't like to be wrong as humans. So we have to keep that in mind. Tell them they made a mistake, but do so indirectly. So it will make them feel valued and not criticized. So they won't be defensive. Okay? And the third and final one is to make the other person happy to do what you told them to do. This ties in with everything else that we just talked about. Make them feel happy doing what they're going to do. So you have to consider their needs. You have to communicate your suggestions. You have to create a positive environment, a respectful environment, show appreciation to their input, keep them in mind. And this is the key here. This is how you can become an effective leader, in my opinion, when talking to people. I love this quote to end the presentation here. Leadership is not about being in charge. It is about taking care of those in your charge. How powerful is this? Read it twice. You're supposed to take care of the people in your charge. That's a leader. Not about being in charge. Like, I'm going to give orders and I'm going to do this and that. That is not a leader. By definition, it might be. But in reality, a leader is someone who takes care of the people around him or her. And with that, I end my presentation. I hope you enjoyed, and I'm open for any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Really great presentation. Thank you so much, Jimmy.
I'm glad you
Okay,
enjoyed it.
so we're gonna go into the questions aspect right now, and then
Mhm.
we're gonna end the section. We have a few minutes few minutes more. So the first question is
Okay.
this: let's say an individual, as a leader, you're working with a
Mhm.
group of people with different opinions, and
Yeah.
then they're being arrogant and they're being, like so annoying. How do you manage situations like that?
So if people are being arrogant and annoying to you as a
Yeah,
leader,
exactly.
or
Exactly. Yes.
but you have to pinpoint why they're doing so. Like, why would they be
Okay.
um,
So let me
negative
set
towards
an
you?
example.
Hmm.
So let me set an example. So
Okay.
recently, as a young student reached out to me in the university, and she's the class
Mhm.
governor. Like, and then she said she was trying to reach out to a lecturer, but things weren't going well, and the
Mhm.
student just overreacted because he was coming from a very far place, and then he was wondering why the class governor acted this way and all that. And the class governor didn't mean it that way. And then suddenly he was trying to manage the situation, but then the other classmates overreacted, and so he was
Mhm.
also angry. So in situations like that, he's acting. How do we manage people when especially they are being annoying and they're being annoying?
So something happened, and then he, by accident, created an annoying setting in the classroom, and then
Exactly.
everyone got annoyed, right?
Yes. Yes.
Well, in my opinion, the only way to not have an annoying setting is to avoid it in the first place. It's to not
Mm,
engage in it in the first place. This is how
mm,
you have to be. You have to be aware of the situation around you. So if there's an annoying setting or something negative happening, you as a leader should be able to steer away from it and create a more positive environment for the student to make them feel more comfortable. So, in the case with the student in your university, the professor or the governor should have not engaged in the negative environment. He himself should have created the positive environment. He should have calmed everyone down, and he should have taken their opinions with ease and with respect, and that would have just eliminated the whole problem in the first place. So when
Hmm.
you're in the you're in the rabbit hole, it's difficult to jump out of it. But it's much easier to just avoid it from the
Yeah.
first place and not walk through it. Just walk around it, right? Like there's no need to jump yourself into it. So this is what he probably did, and it could have been avoided. It could have been avoided.
Okay.
This is my answer to your
Okay.
question.
Okay. So thank you so much, sir. So the other question is this: someone is asking that can everyone actually like us? Can we be liked by everyone?
Can everyone be a leader, you mean?
No, no. Can everyone? Let's say as a leader, I'm trying to work hard in such a way that I want people should like me to
Uh-huh.
be likable in presentation. And the person is asking, can 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 everyone in my surrounding, my or let's say in my environment, my community, like me as much as I try hard to be likable?
Uh-huh. Very good question. Because not everyone will like you. That is the
Hmm.
truth. There's always going to be people or haters, so to say, in which, they don't align with your perspectives. But what you can do as a leader is increase the number of people that like you. You
Hmm.
cannot make it 100%, right? But you can push for 90% or 95%. You see, 90% is much better than 60%. Okay, it's not 100%. There is always going to be haters. That's the truth. But what you can do as a leader is to push that number up. That is the whole goal. It's to get more people to align with you and to like you. But you can't have 100% likability. No, of course not. This is
Wow.
reality. It's the
Wow.
truth,
Wow. Wow. Wow.
right?
Thank you so much. Okay, so the other question is
Yes.
it's quite let me put it this way. Let me put it this way, like more like being very realistic
Okay.
and such a way that how do people um like let's say for example the how do people stay focused in situations where there's so much happening. For example, let me for example,
Mhm.
we possibly could not have felt this section because the war around the settings, the war around the situation, and but at
Right.
the same time you still made it, or no, you're not going to use that as an excuse, or you still were able to actually make this possible. Now, how can young people and young leaders, stay
Mhm.
focused on a goal or a vision or something to drive them in such a way that they don't get distracted by what's really happening around them?
Well, yes, we live in an age in which distraction is all around us. I mean, just start with your phone, right? Your phone is the biggest distraction, and it's in your hand 24/7. I think the statistic is you touch your phone an average of 2,167 times a day. This is a true statistic. You can look it up. 2,000 times a day. That's a lot, right? And that's the biggest distraction because on your phone is the news and all the distractions and the TikTok reels and the Instagram reels and all that stuff. So, this is the biggest distraction. In my opinion, to eliminate distraction, you must limit your phone use, and not phone use as in like good phone use where you're doing work on your phone. No, bad phone use. This is what you should at least try to minimize, not eliminate, but minimize. And I'll give you a pro tip that I did myself because I was in that hole 1 year ago. And what I did was I went into my settings and I changed the color of black and white. It became so bland that I didn't even want to open the apps because it's black and white. It's disgusting. That limited my distraction. It actually worked. It's like forced limit of distraction. And it worked. And I got more motivated to work on other goals because I just limited the biggest distraction of them all, my phone. So that's my answer for you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Okay, so
Yeah,
the other question before we let you go is
of course.
I think we have about two more, three more. So
Yeah,
the
keep them
question
coming.
is,
Keep them coming. I love questions.
you have worked with a lot of young people, and
Uh-huh.
I think we're going to have young people watching this. We have young people watching this, and young people going to watch this again.
I hope
Is
so.
where we we have the young people that like freshers. We have freshers men and people who are just getting to school.
Yeah.
And some people do not know what they want to do with their lives, They don't really know what they want to do with their lives. And they're asking the
Mhm.
question, what can I really do? But my parents sent me to school to just go to school. Now, am I supposed to live above my vision? So do I create a vision when I don't even know what to create a vision for? So the questions like that, they're asking, I don't really know what to do with my life, but I'm just here to read and do all that. Should that be only the thing I should do in school, or should do something better than that, or something bigger than that? I don't really know. So the question is like that.
I love this question. So I think the educational system, school and university, I mean, creates this rush in our futures. Like you need to pick the major that you want to major in. You need to pick your career, and that's too early. I mean, if you have a 19-year-old or an 18-year-old, they're not in a position to take on a decision like that.
Mm.
Plus, it always fluctuates. I mean, someone at 18 might go into computer science, for example, and then 5 years later down the road, changes and starts liking something else. So the educational system limits you and rushes you into one path. But there is no true one path. There are multiple paths, and you can change paths along the way. That's one thing. The second thing, which you mentioned, should they be doing something outside of school or is it just books? My opinion is school teaches you how to learn more than anything else. It teaches you how to learn. That's what it teaches you more than anything else. What I suggest is to learn four money making skills along the way because these things are not taught in school. What is taught in school is how to learn. So take that and learn sales, learn marketing, learn human psychology, and learn writing and speaking. These four are perfect as a supplement to school education and university education because they are not taught in school. What is taught in school is how to learn. So use that and learn them. Sales, marketing, human psychology, and writing and speaking.
Wow, wow. Thank you so much, sir. Okay, so
Mm.
okay. Next two questions. So the last one before the other one is
Yeah,
what the question is, what inspired you to become an educator, and what has kept you being an educator?
nice question. Okay, so I'll give you a small background story of myself. That would help with the answer. When I was 12 years old, I noticed that I loved science more than anything else in the school system, in the subjects. And my classmates used to come to my house and I used to teach them science. And they would say, "Ah, I wish you were the teacher and not our teacher." Actually speaking, when I was 12 and 13 years old. And it continued on until I was 18 and went into university to study physics. So I'm a physicist. I have a bachelor's degree in physics and a master's degree in physics. And during my university years, I noticed that I loved to help others. It was specifically in physics, but then it branched out after I finished. I have this love for educating the next generation of scientists and engineers and thinkers and entrepreneurs. It brings me joy, something I cannot explain really. With words, I cannot explain. It's a feeling, it's a state of being. I cannot explain it. I just love to give to others and to see them thrive and to give them my personal experiences. It just brings me joy. It cannot be put into words. And so right now, I am an educator. I am a teacher. I still teach physics. I still teach math. But on the side, I do educate the next generation of leaders and scientists and engineers and entrepreneurs. And I love it. And I cannot tell you, I will never trade the world for it. It's
Wow,
yeah, it's the
wow,
truth. Yeah.
wow, wow. Thank you so
Hmm.
much, Mr. Jamie. Now we come to the end of our section, but we have the last question to ask you before we let you go.
Of
And the
course.
question is, you've dealt
Yes.
with a lot of young people, you've dealt with a lot of students, you've worked with a lot of people. What
Yeah.
is that one thing in few words that you would want young people to understand? Something you probably understand now that you didn't really understand earlier on, and you want young people in this generation should know.
something young people should know at this day and age is school is not everything. And this
Mm.
is coming from someone who was always the first in class. I'm telling you, school is not everything. You being top in class will not make you successful. This is
Mm.
coming from someone who was always top of class. So this is something I never knew back then, and now I know. You need to supplement it with other skills. This is how I finish.
Wow, wow. Thank you so much, Mr. Jimmy. Okay, I
Thank you
want to
so
say
much,
thank you,
Mr.
Mr.
Yama.
Jimmy, once again. Oh, it's a great privilege to have you here. And we're hoping that one day we'll probably have you physically. We're going to pay for your flight. We're going to pay for everything. You're going to come to Nigeria to
I,
speak physically.
I actually wanted to talk to you about that. Would you be willing for me to come to
Yes,
Nigeria
yes,
to do a
yes,
presentation?
yes, yes, yes. We're trying to. So probably let's end this section and then so that we will just go offline and then we will just
Of
discuss that.
course.
So
Let's do that.
everyone,
Thank you
thank you
so
so
much,
much for joining.
everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone. So we will see you guys again. Bye.
Make sure to subscribe.
Yeah, that's true. Subscribe as well too. You can also reach out to. You can also follow Mr. Jimmy on his Instagram, and you. I think for especially for freshers, you will find Mr. Jimmy. Please help me pronounce your name well.
Yeah, Jimmy, that's it.
Okay, perfect. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, everyone. See you guys. Bye.